All right, as we examine throwing in Aikido, it's good to take a look at the three basic functions in a throw, which are Kuzushi, Sakuri, and Kake. These are terminologies that come out of Judo and that define the actions of breaking the balance, which is Kuzushi, Sakuri, which is fitting with the position of the person you're dealing with and their reactive activity, and then Kake, the activity of throwing. In Kuzushi, we're taking a look at balance break, and what we mean by that can be looked at a couple of ways. The classical form of understanding balance break on a person is that anything that basically distorts the posture of the man in relation to his shoulders and his hips. So if we bring his hips forward, we draw them out forward this way, we've created a little asymmetry in his posture. If he tries to dynamically move in that relationship, he finds, he gets into worse shape. He tries to fight it, go ahead. It gets into worse shape. And it has that quality of almost like a jack on a car, but going in reverse. The same issue if you take his shoulders out of line with his hips forward or backward. As long as the hips and shoulders are not in line, if you hold this condition on the guy and he tries to reflex, go ahead. You see him bump up against it, and it makes him kind of go down a little further. I'm not trying to push him down, but his own activity of trying to reflex against the postural condition of asymmetry is messing him up. You can see this when they get on one foot or another. So if we take him, let's turn sideways to the camera. Yeah, this way. There you go. And I'm just going to put him over on one foot right here. Anything that uproots him from the earth and distorts his posture has the same effect as he tries to stand back up against this. His own activity of pushing against it, just makes it worse and worse. Falls inevitably happen. So classically, Kuzushi is talking about anything that's distorting the posture, typically shoulders and hips getting out of line, or anything that's putting you on one foot or another. In a physical sense, is the large kind of crude idea of Kuzushi. Anything, though, that creates asymmetry, because balance is a very symmetrical function. Anything that creates asymmetry in the guy is a form of Kuzushi. So when we see a wrist lock, for instance, and we're torquing this wrist and the elbow's getting bent and the shoulder's getting bent and everything is starting down here at just a little change in the wrist or a change in the wrist. But the change in the wrist is affecting the elbow, affecting the shoulder, affecting the line of the shoulder in relation to the hips, making everything crimp on one side. And again, just holding this in position and he flexes against it, he'll find that it just makes it worse and worse and worse and worse. The attempt to not be affected by the asymmetry just exaggerates it. Now, how we do Kuzushi is a whole other study, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But for now, just knowing about the functions of Kuzushi being the functions of creating asymmetry in the man's frame, and then basically maintaining those positions for him, so that should he try to not be in an asymmetric state, he just finds it tougher and tougher and tougher, until he collapses. Just can't stand up anymore. It's a very disturbing part of the body or the body's reactions, because when placed in asymmetry and held there, falls naturally result. This is the origin of all our throwing ideas and throwing techniques in both Aikido and Judo, is basic understanding of what's going on in Kuzushi. So thank you. Thank you.